Hello, I'm Kevin.
And I'm Sheila.
And we are the
Wileys.
Wileys.
And we have been talking about Leave and Cleave, a reflection of our 40 years of marital bliss and blender.
40 years.
Some of our experiences and some of our bliss and some of our blunders. And so to celebrate our 40th anniversary, which is this year, we wanted to share some of our bliss and blunders with our friends and some of our families. And so we have taken the basis of our Leave and Cleave, of course, from the scripture, Genesis
2:24. Therefore shall a man leave his father and his mother, and shall cleave unto his wife, and they two shall be one flesh.
Okay, and so we've been talking about leaving, some of the implications, the psychological implications there are when men leave. And of course, that's not the case for all men, because of course, everybody have different experiences, which that enables them to approach different situations differently, right? But there are some psychological implications involved with leaving home and having our young men leave home to become married. And so some of those implications would be leaving that single life and now connecting and taking on a wife and cleaving to a wife, and now they're creating a family of their own.
Yeah, see, you have to leave. When you leave home, you leave home physically, leave home relationally, leave home emotionally, financially, and you leave home spiritually.
Yeah, and so in this scripture now, when they said that a young man leaves his father and mother, this doesn't necessarily mean that he is abandoning them or that he's forsaking his family or his parents. This means that now his wife, he's starting his own. And like I said, with some of those implications, there's some psychological challenge just with leaving, the stressors of leaving for some men who want to leave, but then there are some challenges emotionally with leaving. Kevin, how was it when you decided that you were going to marry and leave your grandparents' house?
Well, that was it was quite easy. It wasn't hard for me at all, because I was ready to go when I turned 18. When I graduated from high school, because I think we got out of school in June, and I was going into basic training in July.
In July.
So I didn't have much time to think about what I was doing. I was thinking more about the future, starting my future, get my finances together. That's what I was thinking about when I left. So, because I knew that I was going to come back and marry you.
That's what you thought.
That's what I did.
At the time, that's what you thought. And so, but you didn't. We got married a year after you graduated. Yeah. So, it wasn't like right after you graduated and then you went in the Army and we got married. It was a year after we graduated, and then we were married. So for you, it was easy to leave home, but for some men, it's like now I have to think about the fact that I'm not going to be single anymore. Some of my relationships may even change, but some of, the guys and hanging out, some of that stuff will be altered. And so one of the things that we did, because our oldest son married about 4 years ago, and so we asked him, what was his preoccupations, his main concern about getting married? And so emotionally, he said he was fine emotionally. That was not a concern for him because he was mature emotionally. Our sons are really mature guys, even at a young age. But he said the concern wasn't emotionally or being able to support his wife emotionally. His primary concern was being able to provide the finances for his family, because he wanted his family to be comfortable. He said the one thing that he wanted was for his family not to ever have to struggle, and so that was his primary concern.
Well, that should be every man's let me put it like this. Somebody would say a real man would be concerned with being able to take care of his family. That's our job. Our job is sometimes it's hard, and we got to do what we got to do. So we got to do whatever it takes to take care of our family. And a lot of times it might be some late nights and working and stuff of that nature, but we have to get out there and do what we are guaranteed by God to do, to take care of my wife and my children.
Yeah, and so finances is a legitimate stress.
Yes.
Or stressor for a young man who's getting married. Being able to provide the emotional support, because now he's leaving. He's leaving the financial support that he had, the emotional support that he had from his parents, and now he's taking on another life and bringing another life, a whole nother personality into his life. And now the two of them, now they have to cleave together.
That's one person wrote, "It's time to give back your parents' credit card and start your own financial trail." So I guess that would be the thing that would would be kind of what on the man's mind is taking care of his family. Now I got to do it. I'm on my own, and that's why it's good to learn good financial strategies when you're young. And that's one thing that we have failed to do. Many parents have failed to do, especially many black parents. We don't teach our children about finances. Finances need to be one of the things that we stress as we raising our children. Do you agree?
Absolutely, yeah. And the other thing along with the finances is, are we preparing them to leave home? Do they have the emotional fortitude? Are they strong mentally?
And are they willing to now live within their means? That's another good thing that we need to stress to our children, that regardless of what you want, you still have to live within your means.
So as parents, then, we need to help them and to prepare them, because of course during our biblical times, of course, they prepared their sons to leave. And so today, do you think we're preparing our sons to leave?
No.
And take on a wife and a family and take care of them? Because there are a lot of things, that we were talking about, the psychological implications. There are a lot of things to be considered.
Yeah.
We talked about the finances for one thing, you got the emotional support. Am I going to be able to support her emotionally? Mm-hmm. Because when you're bringing those two personalities together, you're talking about two different family dynamics, two different approaches to challenges and situations. How do we address our disagreements? So you have all those things that are going to come into play. Now, instead of me going out on Friday nights and hanging out with the guys, going and maybe to one of the sports clubs or whatever, or just going off for the weekend, now we have to we have to readjust some things now and do things just a little bit differently. Yeah. So those are really some legitimate concerns for men when they prepare to leave. Is that why they call that cold feet?
It probably is.
Because now here's the wedding day, and you're having second thoughts the wedding days, because you're looking at the guys and they're pulling on your tux or your jacket and saying, "Are you sure you want to do this? Remember the good times." And they don't necessarily have to completely in, because I think it's important too now for them to keep some of their friends and stuff like that. You want to still have, some of that. It's just good for your sanity.
But it can't be at the level it was before you got married. I think you got to break it down.
The priorities change.
Yeah, the priorities change.
Right, the priorities change.
Yeah.
And now, we just we are reordering how we approach our, what we want to do with our life, how we want to manage our life together.
Well, especially when you first get married, you gotta be able and willing to do what it takes to make your marriage work.
Mm-hmm.
Some people, guys and girls, get married and they think that they can still do all the same old things that they used to do.
Right. And our son, who was recently married, he encourages his wife, go out, go spend time with your friends, go on a girls trip, so you can go and kind of refresh and regroup, and have some good downtime and kind of just relax and kind of refocus. It's just important to come to an agreement of how you're going to approach some of the relationships that you've had or that they've had prior to getting married. And I think that's important to keep some of those friendships.
Well, marriage does require not sometimes, but it must require priorities. Mm-hmm. You got to prioritize things in your marriage, because especially those things that are really important. Mm-hmm. And I think that's one of the things that people they newly married, they don't prioritize, like their spouse, for instance, what my spouse needs, and and what they can do to make it better. You gotta always be thinking about that when you marry. You gotta be thinking about your wife's needs and at all times, and we gotta figure out the ways to be romantic and all that good stuff, because if you want this relationship to last, you gotta
find balance.
You gotta always be thinking about what can make my relationship better.
And I do respect the way that their relationship is starting off, and how they just respect each other to the point where she says, it's good for you to have that time away when you can just go and just regroup, have a good time, go work out, just go to a football game, just do some guy things. And then he feels too it's important for her to do those things. And they've worked that out, so that they both have that time to pause and catch their breath, where a lot of times they come together so they can pause. And then sometimes she'll go out and her friends, and they'll do brunch and different activities so she can pause and catch her breath. He'll go and he'll pause and he'll catch his breath. But that's something that they've worked out. And every relationship is different. Everybody have to find balance within their relationships, because there's a challenge when he leaves and he cleaves, and when she cleaves to him. There is a challenge for both the man and the woman in this relationship when they decide that they're going to cleave.
Well, what's bad? Not bad in a bad way. It says, therefore shall a man, the onus is basically put on man to leave. And then when he leaves, the man is supposed to cleave.
He cleaves.
And that word cleave means to be glued to or cemented to his wife. you know.
So that's where that part of the vow comes in. What God puts together,
that's right.
let no man put asunder,
right.
because now it takes an act of God to separate, or it should take an act of God to separate this cleave, because now you're glued, you're cemented, you're joined together by a force of God, or force that God has put together.
That's right. I was just thinking that, you know, sure, we have been together 40 years, and believe it or not, we have blunders too.
Bliss and blunder.
It was not always peaches and cream at all times. We didn't always agree, but we knew how to stay together, how to love one another in spite of our disagreements, and we're still together.
And work through those things. So, like, if I have to give in this time in this argument, guess what? It's your turn next. And that's what compromise is, right? So if I'm compromising this time, guess who's going to have to compromise the next time?
And also, I was thinking about the therapy. I have always been some type of person who is not very vocal. But I began to be vocal when I started singing. Like sometimes I wonder, how do I get up on Sunday morning and preach? That was not a. I had a problem speaking in front of people. But now, being a singer and songwriter, I can sing in front of people. It's no problem. I don't know what happened. Maybe God happened.
That's right. When God gave you a talent, and when you put that anointing with that talent, you know, it's really nothing that we can't do. You know, because when God steps in it,
you can win.
You know, you can win it. Okay, when God steps in it, you can win it. And that's even in marriages, when you allow God to step in and you live by these principles. These are some of the things that we applied in our marriage, and that's what we've been talking about. A reflection of our 40 years. Some of the principles, some of the strategies, are just some of the things that we did to kind of help us get to this point, to 40 years. August 12th will be 40 years for us. And this is how we chose to celebrate it, to share some stories and just talk about some of our bliss, some of our blunders, and how we work through them. And hopefully some of our stories, some of our principles that we have applied through our 40 years will inspire some young couple, or even an older couple, to just stay the course.
Well,
and work it out.
It's something that anybody who's getting married or that is married need to know. Marriage takes work.
You have to want it.
It just don't fall into place. You have to work at it for it to be effective and for it to be good. It's not, marriage is not something that you just get married and boom, everything is lovely. No. You got to make up your mind and in your heart that you are going to do everything you can do to make this marriage work. Because I've been told that for a long time. Marriage takes work, and I've worked at it for a long time. Now 40 years. And
so when you got ready to leave your grandmother's house, where she said, "Oh, so you just gonna leave?"
So that's what you're gonna do.
Thanks for watching, everyone. Leave and Cleave, a reflection of 40 years of marital bliss and blunder. We'll see you again soon at our next video.